Okay, let's start by engaging your core with a deep breath. And don't let the core tone go away completely, and then go into some light shaking. You want to feel the kind of shock absorbing quality in your body. And turn the other way, 10 degrees, not very far. Okay, and just make sure that your head is moving just along with the spine, like the head is just the end of the spine. It's not doing something different from the spine. And then back to center. Good, and then turn to the other way, and then back to center, turn the other way, back to center, turn the other way, back to center. And this is just to help you identify more and more clearly and feel your vertical central axis. Okay, really gentle, and then get on your A-frame so that you're feeling all the way through the two centers of your feet and the crown of the head. Okay, good. And then let the arms come down, and then big breath in. And then breathe in with your whole body. Use your whole body like you're breathing from head to toe. Good. And then feel the core engage. Bend the knees down here. Stay a little bit low, but lengthen your back as you float the arms up. And then you can start to raise and straighten your legs. Then crown up, shoulders down. And then when you get to about the solar plexus, you can start to slowly bend your knees down to the waist level. Okay, so inhale up and exhale down. So it's just a little bit more sophisticated. So you stay slightly down, let your back drop, feel your feet, then raise up a little bit all the way to the top, and then feel the shoulders drop, but the crown stays floating up. And then when you get past the solar plexus, bend the knees gently. Okay. So understand that there is a flow that is not just up and down. Okay, you want up and down simultaneously. Down to go up, root down, to float up, and then you want to float up to lighten the down. Good. All right, from here, shake out your forelimbs. Good. Okay, and then from here, let's bring your hands to your belly, shift your weight to drop in the center of one leg, and then melt from the quad down, melt the calf, melt the foot, and then just drop your hip knee into rotation, just gentle rotation. Your hips stay level. Okay, so don't send this hip back or to the side. Don't feel like you're sitting on a chair or a stool. Just keep the space in this hip over here. And reverse direction. And breathe into your belly. Feel the waking up of your core, of your dantian area. Good, and then like hydraulics, just drop down the center of this leg as you shift your weight. Good, keep your hips level and even. Good, and again, just melt the quad, melt the calf, melt the top of the foot so that the heel just floats up. So you don't have to press up against the ground. You don't have to put tension into the hip. You want to drop, almost like you're dropping the hip into gravity. Okay, and reverse direction, still feeling the engagement of your core. Good, and then just let the weight flow down until you come back to an even stance. Good, and then let's do the knees. So put your hands on your knees. The insteps are touching, so your feet are touching. There's no weight on the knees. Okay, so just engage your core, think through the centers of your feet, lengthen your back, drop your shoulders, and then begin to circle, maintaining your core connection all the way through to the back and then all the way through to the centers of the feet. Good, no weight underneath the hands, just your hands feel like feathers that are warming. It's like a warm sweater that your knees are wearing. Good, and then go the other way. Good. And then stand up by lengthening and feeling your crown float up towards the heavens. And then step out into your default posture, just a high horse stance. Your feet are parallel, your legs are right under your hip bones. And then just gently just circle the waist, open up the hip joint, release any excess tension there. And just round out the corners. Feel yourself move in a smooth circular shape. Try not to push into a corner. And then think past your knees so that you're not standing on your knees. You're just thinking past the knees and then connecting all the way down to the soles of the feet. Feel the relationship of what your shoulders and hips are doing together. And if you can release the excess tension, reverse direction. And still keep your reference point in the centers of the feet. So don't go for distance. Don't just push out to the edges just to feel the edge. Actually, just start to reference and feel the center of your body, your belly, and the feet. Good. All right. Let the arms come down. Roll the shoulders back. Let them drop into gravity here. Roll them back. Drop them into gravity. And breathe deeply into your belly and feel the diaphragm expand and descend, and really let the lungs inflate like two balloons. Let them inflate in all directions, up, down, front, back, side to side. Imagine the three-dimensional quality of the lungs. Breathing into your back, you're breathing into your ribs, you're breathing into your belly. Good, and then reverse direction, squeeze the shoulders back and up, then drop them straight down the sides. Straight down the sides just with gravity. You don't need to roll them forward. We do enough rolled shoulder forward during the day when we're on our devices. So actually this is counteracting that, sort of reminding the body that you've got all these other muscles that need to wake up and be activated. Good, and then from here, bend the knees and then big circle up and then to the side. And then when you're to the side, make sure that you're not at 180 degrees and you're not behind you either. You're slightly to the front. Engage your core and come slightly to the front. Okay, just as a general rule. Okay, this is the shape that your arms want to be in with your shoulder girdle. Your shoulder girdle is not designed for your arms to be 180 degree straight line. You are not made to be a straight line. So just start to become aware of the bows or the curves, the spherical and circular nature of your body. Sort of find the straight within the curve and the curve within the straight as part of the Taiji principles. Good, and then let's go the other way. Rotate the palms towards you, crown up, shoulders down, bend the knees. Float these up. So crown up, shoulders down. Let this float down, but keep the chin slightly tucked. Bend the knees here. Stay slightly low. Then root down to float the arms up. And then rotate the palms to you and down. Good. So more and more centering. Feel your A-frame. Feel into the centers of the feet. Feel that triangulation, that triangle shape. The 2 points in the centers of the feet and the crown of the head, all communicating and relating to each other through the integration of the core. Good. All right. Then from here, looking over your right shoulder, just rotate the head around. And if you're at last week's workshop, so this, when we do it as a warm-up, it's just kind of like this 3/4 of a circle shape here. But you can utilize the same principles that we learned with shaking the head and the tail to eliminate heart fire. So for those of you who know what I'm talking about with the 8 silk brocades, use the opposite side of the body. Release your shoulder, release your psoas, your hip, and your leg to move in this way. activating the entire body to rotate the head. And then when you get to the other side, just reverse direction. So the principles are similar. You can carry them over into other activities. That's why the 8 brocades has lasted so many hundreds of years, is because it's become the basis and foundation of so many other Qigong forms. Good. And then come back to center and then just roll your head up. Good. And then from here, get into a wider stance. Your feet are still parallel. Now engage your core. Think about your antenna going up from the top of the head. Send it up and out, and then bend at the waist without going backwards with the buttocks. Just bend at the waist and feel a suction in your feet. Feel like your feet are 2 suction cups, and then your lower leg are sort of like the stick or the handle of the plunger. And you feel that suction drawing up into the bones of your legs and returning energy all the way up into your pelvis and your dantian area. So your core is engaged. Your core is not just flaccid here. You want your core engaged, and then this helps to decompress and bring space and integrity into your shoulder girdle as well as your hips. And just take some deep breaths here, and with your breathing, feel the space expand into the muscle tissue, lengthening the glutes, the back, the glutes, the hamstrings, all the way into the fascia and the soles of the feet. And then feel your neck just naturally traction down. And then you feel yourself just getting a little bit longer, not by force, by breath and interconnection through your body. And then to roll up, engage your pelvic floor first. Engage your pelvic floor, and then roll up through from the base to the top of the spine. Try and visualize each vertebrae as you roll up and feel the antenna go straight up vertical. Then as you walk your feet in, bring everything into the center like you're drawing in two ropes into your center with every movement here. Okay, every movement confirming your dantian and your A-frame. Okay, good. All right. Okay, from here, we're going to do a little bit of movement with Yangshan Qigong, which is Qigong that we were working on previously. So we're just going to bring that in, and then I'm going to talk about the hip function. Okay, so here, Yangshan Qigong, so just follow along if you don't know it. It's easy to pick up. Okay, so from here, just bring your feet to parallel. You don't have to be in a low stance. Your legs can be right under your hip bones. And then from here, let's just get comfortable with this movement. So you're just going to float the arms up by engaging your core, and then rotate at the shoulder girdle so that the palms come up. And then let this return to your belly and turn to the side. So here, I like to describe this like snapping sheets on the bed and letting the sheet kind of fall down naturally with gravity. So you don't have to force anything down. You don't have to don't tighten your shoulders or roll them forward. You're just tracking the natural gravitational force, allowing your arms to return this energy into your lower dantian. Okay, and you can see there's a slight elliptical shape that I have with my arms. I'm not just going straight out like Frankenstein, right? I'm gonna go a little bit top view. It's a little bit of an egg shape here because my shoulders naturally like to move in this way. So you're going out by engaging your core and then still suction into your core as you turn the palms up. And this again is that feeling like we were talking about last week of like a tarp filling with water. Like if you have this huge tarp in front of you and you're filling it with water and you feel the weight of that water come into the center of the tarp, that's the feeling that you want to bring into your core. And use your legs, like you feel that your thighs are involved. You feel the balloons in your knees and your hips stay inflated. Don't flatten out and close those hip joints. You want to keep space in there. Good, and then from here, just scoop up towards the center, on the center line as if you're washing your face, except turn slightly to the right when you get close to your face. Keep your elbows down. Wash your face and ears, drop your shoulders, and then turn to the front again. And then let the palms just go out, but engage your core, and then extend the fingertips at the last. Okay, and then from here, you're going to turn to the same direction, keep your elbows wrapped, and you're going to bring the middle fingers to the point between the eyes, turn to the front again, and then let the palms come down the center. Then you're going to clear the belly, just like you do in your Wudang Qigong form. Here, in, and out. Okay, good. Let's do that to the other side. So here we do this snapping sheets on the bed, on the center line, then wash the face. Wash the face and the ears and bring your belly in towards you. Turn just 10, 15 degrees. Drop your shoulders, elbows. Turn to the center again and float the palms out by engaging your core. And then bring the middle fingertips to the point between the eyes. And then turn to the front and then drop your shoulders to drop the arms down. And then clear the palms across the waist. Okay, and you know this section. Lengthen the arms and then turn the palms in. Okay, so that is the basic motion of Yangshen Qigong, and we can add upon that at a later time. But this is the basic essential motion. Yangshen means nourishing life. And you're going to be turning twice to the one direction, and then we'll do the other side. So remember to keep the balance of the 6 directions, up, down, front, back, side to side. So as you go up, you feel the down. As you go down, you feel the up. As you go to the front, you feel the back as if you have a mirror of yourself behind you doing the exact same thing, and you are in contact with that mirror. So now we're going to the other side to wash the face. Drop your elbows, shoulders, float the palms forward and feel that mirror of you on the back of you to prevent you from leaning forward. So you stay on the centers of the feet. Stay on the centers of the feet at all times. You never lose your root. So we always want to stay connected to our roots in our feet. For martial arts purposes, this is very functional, but also for cultivation purposes, you want to stay connected to your connection with the earth energy and stay connected to the heavenly energy at the crown of the head. Okay, so for both internal and external martial arts, it's very functional and purposeful. Turn the palms down at the center, let the arms come down, and clear and sink. Lengthen, turn the palms in, and then to the other side. So first center, snapping the sheets on the bed, feeling the tarp fill with water, and then washing the face, feeling the back of you as well as the front of you. Turn a little bit, drop your shoulders, elbows. Feel the back of you and the front of you as you float the palms forward and extend the fingers. Then wrap in towards your center, wrap your elbows, fingertips to the eyes, face center again, and then drop down the front midline. Clear the palms across the waist, sink the palms gently. Inhale, raise, and exhale, sink. Good. Bring your feet together for a moment and center your energy in your belly. Good. And then just let the arms go. Good. Okay, so we're just going to talk about hip movement a little bit. So in order to feel it, have you get into a high bow stance, what we would call a bow stance, like a bow and arrow. So you're just going to step forward so that your hips, your heels are hips distance apart. Your back foot is turned out about 30 degrees. And then the front toe is pointed 2 degrees in from center. Okay, just 2 degrees in from center. Okay, and then So feel like your weight's in the back, put most of your weight in the back, but always be aware that you're sending your roots down both legs. So whether your weight's in the back or your weight's in the front, don't abandon the leg that has less weight in it. Okay, so you want to be able to have weight transfer without an energy cut. Okay, so even though there's more weight in one side, you're still energizing both legs. Okay, so when you're here and your weight's in the back, feel like you're getting under a bag of groceries and you're bringing that bag of groceries in towards your belly. So you're activating your core, like you're giving yourself like a deep hug, and don't squeeze the life out of yourself. So just it's a good hug. It feels good in your body. Okay, and then feel what that does, like decompressing your spine, the entire spine. Good, and then from here, just glide your weight front and back. So keeping this sensation here in your body, and then inflate, like feel like you got balloons in your hips, balloons in your knees, and then glide your weight forward until you get to the knee, until the knee just disappears, the front toe. And then still in here, balloons, glide your weight back. Okay, so glide your weight forward. I'm going to turn to the side and glide your weight back. Glide your weight forward. So it feels really spacious in the hips. So this gets, so sometimes when we do this, when we get to the front, we feel like we have to push to the front, but still energize the back. So just balance that frontal movement by sending the root down the back leg as much as you are in the front leg. And then the same thing, when you're going back, feel the space in here and don't abandon your front leg. Keep the roots energizing your front leg. Okay, so you constantly feel this flow into the earth in both your legs, no matter where the weight is distributed. Okay, and then you have this core engagement that is consistent, and you may not feel like you may lose it and have to find it again with some of these movements until you practice more. So that's normal. That's normal. The important part is that you return to it and you find it again. You kind of return home here. This is your home base. Good. And then switch feet. So same posture. So your front toe is just 2 degrees in from center. And notice that my feet are not on a line. Okay. Hips distance between my heels. Okay. Back foot 30 degrees, and then just glide. Feel the glide, like you're literally in like one of those glider chairs. So there's no end. You don't feel the end of the movement. There's always potentiated energy in your pelvic girdle. Good, and then as you do this, just feel like you are like in a swing set, right? Like you're in it, like feel like your saddle area and your hips are sitting on a swing. And it's not like just that board that you stuck on a rope on a tree. Think of like it's like those baby swing sets where it's like you got to thread the baby's legs through the harness. Okay, so feel like you have kind of like this harness or sling underneath and supporting the movement of your hips as you're moving forward and backwards. And in your forward movement, so you can start to use your hands. So I like to start with this, with the palm side down, like you're almost like you're drawing the sling around your hip joints here, and spread the webs of the fingers, and the fingertips are pointed forward. Okay, and your arms are not straight. So you also want to feel like there's a ball here that you're going under with your arm movement. Okay, and then keep this chest wide and upright. Your spine is upright as you do this. And then feel this flow, like you're literally, like you have this flow. Okay, switch your feet. Same position on the other side. And then just feel this flow, like you lengthen your arms and you flow around the bottom of the sphere with your arms. And that helps you start to envision the flow around the bottom of your hip joint. The flow around the bottom of your hip joint. So you start to develop a relationship with the dimensionality, the spherical anatomy of your hip joint. So you start to feel this flow back and forth, back and forth. And it's gliding and it feels good in your body. Feels good in your body. If it doesn't feel good in your body, just you can raise your stance a little bit. All right, and then switch your feet. Keep your weight in the center. Keep your consciousness in the center of you. Good, and breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Good. Now as we do this, we're going to go palms up. So you're going to scoop underneath the ball, but don't raise your shoulders. So still think underneath the ball. Think underneath the ball. Switch your feet again. Good. And it might feel really different. One side and the other might feel really different. But keep that front toe either pointed straight ahead or better is 2 degrees in. Then when you move forward this time, fold and drop your elbow. Wrap and drop your elbow in like you're getting underneath that grocery bag again. Then when you go back, just straighten your spine, but feel the spine go up and down simultaneously. So roots down, crown up as you go back, and then consolidate and feel your core come in towards yourself like a hug. And then don't fully release that tone. You still keep some of it. As you flow backwards, lengthen. As you go backwards, lengthen like you've got a rubber band going up and down in the center of you. The down goes through the floor, the up goes up above your head into the sky. So you have that feeling like you're getting under like a bag of rice. You're bringing that bag of rice close to you, or that grocery bag. You're bringing it closer to you, switch your feet. Make sure you got both sides. And just glide gently and don't go to the end of your movement. Feel the length of you. Feel the breadth of you. Don't lock out your hips. Don't lock out your hips. Instead, think through the floor. Roots spiraling down through the feet, through the floor. Really gentle, flowing motion. Like you're hugging your own self. Gently, you're hugging your own spine. The front of you and the back of you are coming towards each other. Good. Okay, good. Now step back as you let the arms come down and then just feel how long you are. Good. Take a deep breath and then sink in your stance. And then inhale, raise. And then exhale, sink down the center line. Clear the palms flat across the belt. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lengthen the arms. Exhale, sink. Bring the feet together. Put the palms one on top of the other. Take a deep breath in and out here. And then massage the belly, warming the belly. Go down the left, up the right. Down your left, up the right 3 times. And then reverse direction 3 times the other way. And then warm the hands. Still engaging your core. Don't let the shoulders do this movement. Okay, this is all core. And then wash the face gently. Still core. Okay, it's still your dantian determining and initiating this movement. Bathing all the senses in the head with the qi and then diffusing them from above to below, from the center outward to all the cells in the body.
When you were talking about the plunger, the feet, like the plunger in the bone, like the spine or the handle,
Handle of the plunger, yeah.
is that something you can always refer back to? That's a feeling that's pretty
consistent everywhere. So the plunger, sometimes it's maybe a little bit more helpful to think of like the center of the tube of your legs as if your legs were tubes. The center of that tube would be think of your legs more like a straw. Mm-hmm. And then the bottom of your feet like those plungers, so that you actually bring this suction, you're suctioning in and you're feeling the hugging of your muscles wrapping around the longitudinal length of your bones, and then drawing that energy into your dantian. And that goes for your arms as well. So you also have this kind of suction-like quality in the palms. That's like you're drinking a really thick smoothie, right? And it goes in through the straw of your limbs, and then it returns into your belly, like you're actually getting nourished by this activity, like you're drinking some thick, nourishing smoothie into your belly, right? And you want it to get all the way down there. You don't want it to get stuck anywhere. You want to just have it arrive in the belly. So you want to fill the belly with this activity. Okay, so the four limbs, so the arms and the legs have the same quality. And that goes for everything. All of your Qigong movements, all of your Tai Chi, all of your martial arts should have this quality. So you can even feel this kind of like expansion out of the sort of like the outer surface can expand out at the same time that the inner surface is drawing in. Okay, so you're like a gecko, like a tree frog, and your feet can go from this size to like 3 times the size. Right? It has an elasticity. And that elasticity confirms the alignment of your skeletal structure. You're not pushing away from it. You're not pushing anything, actually. You feel this kind of drawing in, and that balances the outward movement. And then the proportions of that attention, like sometimes you're going to have more attention on the outward movement. Sometimes you'll have more attention on the inward movement, but it exists simultaneously all the time. And we often say, like with my teacher, Sam Chin, he says that the yin produces the yang. So the yin is the return of the energy into the dantian, but that produces the yang energy. So yang energy without the yin, it's like throwing a ball of energy and it leaves you. It's out there now. It's not in here anymore. You've given it away. It's gone. So when you have yin energy that produces the outward energy, it's like a yo-yo. It comes back to you. You have a return of energy. And that's why the internal cultivation arts is a longevity practice, is because this sort of economy and efficiency of energy production has a return. And this is a natural design and process that we are designed to do. It's in there already. We just have to practice it and be reminded that this exists. So it's just like the quality of the movement of water change, the elemental change in nature, right? So that the water mists up into the sky and then forms clouds, and then the clouds rain down and it's absorbed by the earth. So it's just like these elemental changes by the water, like there's a cyclical return in the external ecosystem that is completely natural. We don't have to create that. We don't have to manufacture it. It exists in us. But because we are practiced in compartmentalizing our experience, and we have a practice of dissociation in our culture, that this practice helps to integrate us again and remind us of our natural design. And it takes practice, because we have to, I think what's one of the most challenging things is like we are actually changing our references. So to your question about the hip, we usually reference like an end of the movement. We feel like the ball, right? Ball and socket, hip joint. We like to feel the end of the movement, right? We like to feel like the suction in here of this, because it makes us feel like we're doing something, right? Because we learn through contrast, right? We learn through contrast. So it's good to know what that is. We're usually pretty familiar with what that is. So then as an adult, you learn not just to imitate, but you learn to, come into yourself for your own unique expression into the world. So for that kind of internal liberation, you need your own choices and to know yourself on the interior. So this means bringing space into here, and that knowing that when we move our femur, we can actually keep the space in this socket, right? We don't have to push and then grind to feel the end of the movement. So this is usually what we do. We usually feel the front of our hip and the back of our hip. We sit down and we kind of like feel the femur just kind of boom, sit in the back of our hip, right? And so that means the space is not evenly distributed in the hip joint. And then when we're moving forward, we tend to lean forward so that the weight is kind of crushing into this, the front quadrant of that hip joint, right? Or the knee gets it too, the front of the knee, boom, right? Just like a lot of pressure on the knee. So instead of that, we want to think about like the knee being connected to the ground, and you don't want to just think that the end point is on the knee. You're not standing on the knee, you're standing on the ground. Okay, and then so that it sounds really simple, but it's like actually our consciousness is like we tend to separate and compartmentalize even ourselves. So to connect the dots, literally, connect the joints. So instead of the knee bone's connected to the hip bone, right? So it's like you want to connect the dots, and not only that, but like open the conduit between them so that there's actually circulation and communication going between the points. Those points are not like solid and empty. I mean, they're not just solid static points, right? There's still fluid. There's a whole fluid joint capsule. There's fluid inside the joint capsule that wants to have this joint floating in it, like a eyeball is floating in fluid. You want your joints to feel like they're also kind of floating in that fluid, and you don't want to squish it to one side. So that's kind of the idea. Okay, and so now that you have some images and some ideas, try to feel that in your body. Don't just think yourself there, but like as you're just walking from here to the kitchen table, how can it's like identify those areas where you feel like you're just like hit a dead spot in your hip, and it's like, oh, how can I get that sling-like feeling in there through that little bit? So really start to observe your body habits and see how you can maintain the sort of levity and loft buoyancy inside your own joints and body. Okay, and then this really can have a direct effect on your joints. We had a couple of people last week saying, I have osteoarthritis, and like after a couple of days, it's like there's no pain, even though I have pain there every day. It's like it's not there anymore, and it's because you can actually learn to gap your joints by utilizing your tendons and muscles in a different way. So you can actually decompress and reduce the friction in those joints. And this is really good for your health, right? And when you're healthy, all your relations are healthier. All right, everybody, have a good rest of the day. Take it easy. Be good to yourselves.